Welcome to Girls Who Talk Goals. I'm Christy.
I'm Natalie.
And I'm Emily.
We are creating an empowering community where we inspire each other to step out of our comfort zones
And fill each other's cups one conversation at a time.
We're all just trying to figure out life, so let's go on this journey together.
Now let's jump into today's episode.
Welcome back. Today's mantra is knowing you're enough. I think everyone struggles with self-worth or some form of self-doubt. So we wanted to share what that looks like to each of us. Personally, I've been feeling a lot of that this week. I feel like I am involved in so many things, or I have so many things going on, and I'm not happy with myself in any category right now. Or I'll be comparing, for instance, in real estate right now, I'm comparing what I did last year at this time to where I'm at this year at this time, and it's not where I want to be able to reach my goal at the end of the year. So that will slide me into a slump. Alongside that, I feel like, again, I've got, we are growing a business with our podcast. I'm a volleyball coach. I'm a realtor. And I'm also a wife, and sometimes I'm not fully present for my husband, which makes me feel bad and makes me doubt all of the things that I'm doing on top of that. So I'm really struggling with that.
You're going through the trenches right now.
I am, but something that I think of that I wanted to share with you guys, because I feel like you can kind of feel the same way, is this quote that I love, and it's called The Tale of Two Wolves. So I'm going to read it. A Cherokee elder was teaching his young grandson about life. A fight is going on inside me, he said to the boy. It is a terrible fight, and it is between two wolves. One is evil. He is anger, envy, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, self-pity, guilt, resentment, lies, false pride, self-doubt, and ego. The other is good. He is joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, kindness, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, and faith. This same fight is going on inside you and inside every other person too. The boy thought about it for a minute and then asked his grandfather, which wolf will win? The elder simply replied, the one you feed. And I love this.
I love that so much.
I love that.
Me too. I have this on my fridge at my house too.
Okay.
Because I'm like, whenever I get in a slump, it's like the angel and the devil on your shoulder. Which one are you going to feed at the end of the day? Are you going to choose to just sit around, slump around, and feel sorry for yourself that you're not doing all of these things that you want to do, or that you don't feel like where you're supposed to be? Or are you actively going to work to better yourself, find a resolution to give the right amount of time and energy to everything that needs you? Because there's a way to work around everything.
You know how hard that is? Thinking of what your thoughts are during the day, of thinking self-doubt or whatever. So much easier to think of the negative things. You're instantly something negative. Snap of a finger. And then to try to train your brain to replace it with something positive is so hard. It's almost impossible. I mean,
it's so vital though.
It is, because if you think positive things about yourself, your body, your surroundings, your whatever, then good things will happen. But if you focus on the negative things, that's all you'll see.
Yeah, I read that somewhere. It was like a post I saw on Instagram, and it said that exact same thing. It is so easy to pass judgment so quick, but it's so hard for you to think positive. And everybody is like that I know. But how do we change that?
Right. Or just in general, it's so easy to get angry about things, because anger is such an easy emotion for us, but happiness and joy, it's not.
It's hard to hold on to almost.
It is. Yes.
That was really good.
Yeah, truly. You do wake up every day and you have to decide which one you're going to feed your energy to, the devil and the angel on your shoulder. Which one are you going to listen to that day?
Yeah. And I'll be honest, this week I have Sunday to Wednesday, I have put it on the wrong side and not in the good wolf. And Thursday to Friday, I feel like I'm picking myself back up, and I don't ever want to be in the same slump I was the first 3 days of this past week again. I'm learning to recognize it more and try to put a stop to it sooner. And sometimes that also means calling yourself out to people, who are of the same frequency and energy as you.
Yeah.
Like you guys are. I feel like spending some time with you guys actually kind of brought me out of it a little bit.
Raises the frequency a little bit.
Yes. And sometimes that's just what you have to do to dig yourself out and not doubt yourself as much.
I agree. And you know what I think has a huge impact on us females is our menstrual cycle. Because I was telling Natalie the other day, on the first day of my cycle last week, I all day long just had every negative thought that you could possibly think of. But the difference is I recognized that it wasn't normal for me, because I'm like, Emily, you don't think these things on a daily basis. It's just because your hormones are raging right now. So I think if you can take a step back and recognize like, hey, this is not normal for me. I don't normally have these negative thoughts, like something's going on. It's much easier to recognize that and pull yourself out of it and kind of combat that. So I think knowing yourself. Yes, you have to know yourself and know your thoughts really well.
It's also interesting to think, you might see, I'd like to think of myself as aware to a certain extent, looking at patterns. If I get in a slump, then the first things to go are the things that benefit me the most, of working out, of, health, eating healthy, going on walks, like the simplest things, waking up in the morning and doing affirmations. Those are the first things to go, because you think, oh, you don't have time. When it's like, that's actually BS. You have time.
And those are the things that are going to make you better.
Yes. And those are the things you need. And also with that, when you're in slumps, the people who support you the most through bad times, I've noticed myself being most harsh to them.
Yeah.
Which is so ridiculous. Like, I'll do that to my mom or something. She'll be helping me, and I'll take my anger out or whatever on her because I'll be venting or something. And it's like, she's one of the most important people in my life, and she supports me no matter what. And why would I do that?
Because it's so easy to give into that anger.
Because they're going to be there too.
Right.
But it's just interesting thinking about those things of self-worth and self-doubt and how it affects everybody.
I agree that usually whenever you are in a slump and you have that self-doubt and just like wallowing in your self-pity, the first things to go are the things that benefit you the most, because you're like, oh, I don't have time. I have to do this. I have to focus on work. I have to get all of these things done. So I don't have time to eat healthy or do all these things, like get 8 hours of sleep, everything that's going to make you feel better and function better. Or like we were just talking about, having a clean space. Like for me, if my house is dirty or a mess, I can't focus. And so taking that time to do that, I know that will put me off onto a better foot, and I will be able to focus and get back on track. So
I agree.
Yeah, it's really easy to give those things up. But
yeah, it's hard because you need to stay consistent with those things. Like, I am like really good at letting a tornado go through my house and then picking it up 2 weeks later and like living in the chaos. And I need to be more consistent on keeping the good habits consistently. Yeah. So that I am not wallowing in self-pity as much.
I agree completely. I'm totally in the same space as you. I feel like this past 2 weeks has been absolutely insane. I'm wearing so many different hats like you are, of like realtor, appraiser, dog mom,
landlord,
dog mom, landlord. But just all these different hats, and it's pulling me in all these different directions. And so you feel like you can't give your full self to any of them. You're just kind of pulled and just giving 25% of yourself to each category. And taking the time, make your priorities, I think, is a huge thing. Clean your space, go out for a walk, eat healthy. I'm working on that myself. All of those. But just being mindful of where you're at day to day and keeping track of yourself and supporting your loved ones.
I agree. I've been in that for about 3 months now. 4 months, actually. I've been in that slump, or just feeling lost in general. And I think feeling that way also comes with a lot of self-doubt and self-pity, because recently I just went through a big life change, and that has landed me back at home living with my parents. And navigating that at 24,
which is nothing wrong with that, by the way.
No,
that is so smart.
There's nothing wrong with it. However, when you think that your life is going to look one way at this exact moment and it looks completely different, I think that comes with a lot of
setbacks and everything. Yeah. Like the Instagram, there's tons of posts on what I thought I would look like at 22, engaged and married by 25 and kids by 26 or whatever. And it's like that's not realistic normally.
Right. And like at this age, you're like, I have a dog.
Yeah, dog mom.
And that's it. But yeah, I just navigating that at this point, I didn't think I'd be where I am right now at this age. And that's totally okay. But learning how to navigate the changes and realizing that you think your life is going to look one way, but it's never going to follow that exact path. And just learning to be okay with it and to go with the ups and downs. We were just talking about the ups and downs of life earlier and how it's going to go up and down, but it's so important what you're doing whenever you are down. And it'll dictate how you go back up.
Yes.
I like that.
I was just telling Emily that I have this role model. She's this amazing woman and she's super successful, and she always just has super good insight. Like, you want to have a conversation with her because she's going to inspire you. And we were talking just about the roller coaster of growth, as like you were just saying. And sometimes you're up here and you're like, man, I'm just soaring. And then you go back down, and it's what you do down here that matters the most to get you back to where you need to be. And like, sometimes the level of growth is just a wave and you have to ride it. But when you are in the low, you need to make the most of it so that when you get back up there, you don't sink down like that again.
I love that. Because it's always going to be up and down, no matter what. But I do agree, what you do when you're low.
Learn to appreciate the low and work your hardest in it.
Yeah.
Yes. And I feel like that's where I'm at in my life right now. I am learning how to navigate through a lower point right now, but surrounding yourself with the best people possible, your support system, and continuing to do these healthy habits and prioritizing all of those, I know that's going to put me back at the top. And I think that's so important.
Yeah.
But on the topic of being 24 and living back at home, I think it's so difficult to go on social media these days and seeing other people maybe at our age, maybe they're married, they have kids, or they have bought 5 investment properties, or just comparing yourself to other people on social media. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, oh, I'm 24 and I live at home now. Like, all that self-doubt just comes pouring in when really there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. However, comparing yourself to other people, it is so difficult.
Yeah.
But that's what social media is nowadays. It's such a highlight reel. And like, am I posting about being back at home? No.
Yeah, and it's subconsciously. Like, I don't post all the time on my personal page. I post when I travel, or I post things that I enjoy that make me happy, that I'm like, oh, I look cute in that photo, or like whatever. And I think it's just subconscious. People post when they're having a good time, and then that's all you see about others.
Yeah.
And that's dangerous.
Right. It's like America's new favorite pastime is scrolling on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok.
It's an addiction.
And with that is going to come a lot of comparison, that you're not where you're supposed to be because so-and-so's here and she's doing this. But then it's like you see every person doing that. And it's hard. It can be a hard pill to swallow to be like, I'm sitting right here and they're out there doing that.
It is a hard pill to swallow. But then you think of, okay, hold on. There's always somebody more wealthy or living a more luxurious life, or up, below you and above you. There's literally, that's just life. And then to think, there are probably people that envy you and they're wanting your life. And it's like, however, you're not even feeling grateful for the life you're living.
Right.
Yet we still don't have it figured out. And we love our lives. It's just being grateful in the moment. And I'm trying to be better about that and doing like the 5-minute journal every day and just
being more mindful.
Being more mindful in the moment. I have a huge problem with that, especially with my job. And I know you guys can relate too, because being independent contractors, and like, my work never ends. And so I'll have a goal that I'll set for myself and I'll reach that goal. But by the time I reach that goal, I'm not even thinking about reaching that goal or celebrating it, because I'm already on to 10 other goals down the road. And so it's really important to have people in your life that are like, hey, that make you appreciate it, that make you celebrate your wins, because it's so important for you to realize how far you've come and where you're going and everything, especially with my job being in an appraisal, and especially you guys being realtors. It's just, you have a deal and it's great and you have a good month, but you're not even celebrating that month because you're thinking of all the other deals you have, or not making it a lucrative next month because you have to have a deal going through now to close next month. It's just kind of, there's never an end to any of it.
Right. And I think something that's huge about not celebrating your wins, like you were just talking about, and always moving on to the next goal, is that you wanted to be at that point so bad in like your past self. You were like, oh, I can't wait until I get to this point one day in my life. But then you get to that point and then you're thinking about something else. You never are grateful for the moment that you're in that you worked so hard to get to. And I think practicing that mindfulness is huge.
It's so hard.
But it's so difficult.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But I think what you said about like surrounding yourself with people who celebrate those wins for you and with you, and they're like, hey, no, like, let's take a step back. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Like, that's incredible that you just closed on your first investment property and your second one. Like, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, you're right.
You right.
Yeah. And it just makes you pause.
That's so true. That's so true.
It is.
Like, keep kicking ass.
Especially like with you, because I know you're setting high goals for your investment properties and you just closed on your second one, but you're like, oh, but if I don't have 5 by the end of the year, you know, you're already kicking yourself. Yeah. Really, you're like, you're 25 and you just bought your second investment property. That's huge.
Right. Yeah. And so many people are envious of that right now that can't even fathom that. Yeah. Like, how did they get there? Or how did she do it? The grass is always greener on the other side, in a way. Because you're always thinking about something else. You're never
always think it is.
Yeah. And it's really not, but it's greener where you water it.
Social media is very difficult to be on whenever you are in a slump, because you get on there and maybe you see somebody driving in a really nice car or they have a really nice house and they're your age, but on the flip side too, they might be in crippling debt.
You have no idea.
Their marriage or relationship might be falling apart. You have no idea. So I think also with who you follow on social media and like the accounts that you follow is huge, because if you're constantly going on there and you're seeing like these famous people who always look perfect and put together and they have everything, that's always going to be a comparison in the back of your mind, whether you realize it or not. So if you follow accounts that kind of lift you up and the ones that you vibe with more, I think that's huge.
The social media you are looking at on your feed, that's what you are getting like every day. Like, that's what you're consuming, and what you're consuming dictates how your day goes or how your goals or how
your mental health.
Yes, mental health. It's huge. Do you guys have any boundaries with social media? 'Cause I don't. I need to work on that.
I do. Actually, something that I just started recently, because I was like, why am I so like distracted during the day and my attention span is so short now? I realized this because I feel like I'm very self-aware. But I realized I had just had a lot of brain fog and I just couldn't finish a task, even if it was such a short task. And so I go back and I'm like, okay, how am I starting my day? And I, like everybody else, it is so hard to get up in the morning. And so for me, I'm like, oh, to wake myself up, I'll just scroll for 5 or 10 minutes. And then sometimes it turns into 15 or 20. But consuming that as soon as you wake up, I feel like is so detrimental to your day and to your mental health, because you're starting out your day looking at all those things or looking at other people's lives when that doesn't matter. Get up and start your day. Doesn't matter what they're doing or what they just bought or like look at this unboxing or whatever. No, just get up and start your day and don't look at your phone for a while. I get up and I check, that nobody died, but I don't get up and scroll anymore. I just set that boundary a couple months ago and I've seen a huge difference. I get up, doesn't matter. Just get up and start my day.
I need to be better about that, because like, why do I even want to look at that in the morning? What is the point? There is not a point. It doesn't better me. It doesn't start my day out great.
It wastes time.
It does.
Yeah. I will say, doing our page, because we are trying to spread positivity and create a community of positivity and just overall growth. So when we do post on our page, and I'll post maybe in the morning of a quote or something, yeah, it's for our community and it's for other people to look at, but I'm also needing that. So I'll be like consuming that content and read that quote or something, and I'm sharing it because I resonated with it and that's what I needed to hear this morning. And I'll put like an open box, like, oh, what are you grateful for or something? Because I think starting your day off like that is amazing. So if our page, say people are on Instagram in the morning, if one of their posts that they are consuming is our page's story for the day, and it starts off with a quote or it starts off with the affirmation or whatever, if they consume that, and maybe that will bring a little bit more light into their life for the day, or to, think of something positive or whatever, instead of just mindlessly scrolling.
I love
That's
that.
not healthy.
I love that. If we could just impact one person's day or mental health, or just help them start their day right, then I think this is totally worth it.
Yeah, I agree. And it's helping all of us too, because we're looking
Absolutely.
for that content now.
Yeah.
And if we're actively seeking it out, then that's what we're consuming.
But I do agree, social media, it can be a platform to lift you up as well, if you do it right. That's why I think being conscious about who you follow and what post you're looking at, it can be great. It can be a great asset, but it can also be a huge downfall if you're not careful with it.
Yeah. So just be aware at the end of the day.
Yeah, be mindful. We're very passionate about this, about growth. And hopefully that's what,
Comes across in our social media.
yeah, and through this podcast. And whoever's listening to this right now, take time today. Think about something you're grateful for. Think about who you're following on social media. Think about, do you have boundaries with social media? Do you need to unfollow? Follow accounts that inspire you. Influencers, are they showing, what are they showing? Are they showing just a highlight reel? Why are you following them? Just ask yourselves questions, because I think that's really important.
Become more self-aware.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, know that you're enough. And when you're in a slump, that you can pick yourself back out of it
Yes.
and just recognize it.
And come to our page for some uplifting quotes to hopefully drag you back out of it.
Yeah.
Yes, join our community, and we're going through it with you. So you're not alone. You're not alone. You are enough.
Yes.
Period.
Period. So hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day, and can't wait for the next one.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.